Hey everybody, it's Brandon, and I just want to give a shout out to everybody that's joined my channel recently. I hope you enjoy these videos, and I've got a lot more in the upcoming days. So I'm going to be telling you about Obsidian Dragon Slayer. This is a rules-light role-playing game by James T. Hook, and as you can see right here, this is what it looks like, and it's pretty neat. It definitely gives me those Karen vibes, and he does talk a little bit about that in here. And you can get it on ttrpg and PDF, softcover, and this hardcover right here. And so let's take a look at it. So it's got some interesting art throughout it. I think it's kind of fitting and definitely looks like some of the stuff I've seen of this type of game. We've got our table of contents right here. It's not very big, as you can see, 27 pages. And he gives some good insight into his overview of this. Pretty much talking about how the more those 600-page plus rulebooks collect dust on my shelves, this and my experiences in campaigns, one-shots, and online gaming has changed my focus to rules-light games. So that's cool, and a lot of us have done that. It says here there are a lot of games out there that I truly adore, and Karen is one of my favorites, and you can obviously see the inspiration. Though I wanted to bring some classic fantasy flavor to the rules-light realm, Obsidian Dragon Slayer is my answer to this, using the core resolution mechanic of Maze Rats as its engine. So it's got its own design philosophy, and if you've seen my video on Karen, that box set I did, it definitely reminds me a lot of that information. We've got kind of the overview, neutrality, death, fiction first, growth, player choice principles, shared objectives. A lot of those are kind of self-explanatory, so that's helpful. Principles for referees, information, provide useful information. Players don't need to roll dice to learn about their circumstances, be helpful and direct, respond honestly and describe consistently. Very good information there. A lot of these section here is good. Difficulty. Preparation. It says the game world is organic, malleable, and random. It is intuitive and makes sharp turns. Use random tables and generators to develop situations, not stories or plots. That's helpful as well. NPCs don't want to die. Infuse their own self-interest and will to live into every personality. I like this one too. NPCs remember what the PCs say and do and how they affect the world. I like that. Narrative focus right here. You've got danger. The game world produces real risk of pain and death for the player characters. Telegraphs serious danger to the players when it's present. The more dangerous, the more obvious. Treasure, of course. Relics are not treasure, though they are useful and interesting. Use treasure as a lure to exotic locations under the protection of intimidating foes. You've got choice. Use binary, so A or B responses when their intentions are vague. The Die of Fate is interesting. Pretty much, you'd roll a d6. 4 or more, it's going to favor the players. Under that, it's going to be bad luck for the players. The player characters, if you roll a 3 or under. It says the same formula can also be used as a simple yes or no oracle. I use that in my Pocket Fantasy role-playing game as well. So you've got principles for the players. You've got agency, teamwork, exploration, talking, caution, planning, and ambition. A lot of these are really good information right here. Then we got our character creation. So it says you need to choose a name, determine attributes, calling, cosmic bondage, vocation, starting feature, and something noteworthy about your character. So we've got our attributes. We've got strength, dexterity, and heart. And you're going to place a +2, +1, and a +0 in those attributes. Or if you want something random, you can roll a d6 where 1 and 2 is a 0, 3 and 5 is a +1, and 6 equals +2. And then you've got callings. And this is it says your specialized training or different ancestry other than human. Android. So that's cool. We've got some neat things there about it, how they are, they're not just simple program. They have independent consciousness and are animated by souls. And of course, they're going to get some abilities for being these different type of callings, as it's called here. You've got dwarf, elf, goblin. You've got halfling, priest, Ratataskar, which is pretty much like I think that's how you say it. It's pretty much like a normal squirrel with reddish fur and elongated ears. They have a high armor rating, which is cool. Now, of course, I'll be talking to you about that in a second. But they only deal 1 point of damage regardless of weapons or physical technique. So that's going to obviously hold them back. They have a high acute sense of hearing and benefit from the advantage for all danger rolls is what it's called in this game. That relate to sense of hearing. And then you've got what's cool is it tells you what you begin with some of the stuff. So you're going to get some stuff. Like they're going to get a bag of pebbles, an oaken club, a sling, shoulder bag full of acorns, like that. You've got a sorcerer here. They can do some minor magical effects, and they start off with 3 spells. You got the thief, the Ursine, which is going to be a bear, pretty much like a big bear person. So that's neat. but they don't have opposable thumbs, so that's going to hurt them a little bit. You've got the warrior. They gain a +1 attack bonus. If a warrior fails an enemy in battle, they can make an additional attack to another opponent. So that's cool. If they have to move, and are able to spend luck to attack all opponents within reach. So that's neat. Cosmic Bondage here is going to be kind of like an alignment system with law, neutrality, and chaos. And then you've got some vocations, what your character did before becoming an adventurer. We've got a list here of them: alchemist, astrologer, barber, blacksmith, so on. And those are obviously, you're going to have knowledge of the vocation, and it's going to help you, with your role-playing type stuff. Then you got like this, the starting feature. Choose a feature from below, either a +1 attack bonus. So if you want to have a more attack bonus, you can get that. A single spell, you better have a spell book if you don't have one. So you'll have to get one of those. Because you do have to have a spell book in order to cast spells in this game. +3 luck, and luck's going to help you stay alive. Maybe additional vocation or something noteworthy about your character that separates them from any other warrior or sorcerer, elf, or human. So it makes you stand out in the crowd. But I like these choices here because it kind of gives you just an overall bonus to whatever you want. And then how do you play the game? You've got danger rolls. You're going to roll 2d6, and you're going to add your bonus to whatever attribute you're rolling on. And if it's 9 or higher, you avoid the danger. If not, the referee describes how things go wrong. And so, of course, they will go wrong. You add strength bonus when using raw power, stamina, and physical resilience. You add the dexterity bonus when using speed, agility, or precision. And your heart bonus when you're using force of personality, perception, or willpower. So it's pretty easy. Advantage gives you 3d6. You'll choose the 2 highest. And then all characters start with 15 points of luck. Measure of survivability and cunning. They can always be spent in numerous ways. First, the character can use luck to survive hits suffered in combat or from traps and natural hazards. And, of course, sorcerers use luck to work powerful spells, noting that this is extremely draining. You've got a simple 2d6 thing here when it comes to NPC reactions. Like I said, this is a very rules-light game. I like initiative a lot. PCs go first unless surprised. Love it. Keep it simple. Combat. So base armor rating is going to be a 6. Light armor and shields provide a +1 armor each, with heavy armor provides +2 armor. But you've got shields, and of course you can't use a two-handed weapon with those. If you're in heavy armor, you cannot get advantage on dexterity danger rolls or from their call-ins when attempting feats of skullduggery. So you're going to make an attack on somebody else. You roll 2d6, you add your attack bonus, and if it is greater than your enemy's defender's armor, the attack hits and reduces luck by the amount listed per the weapon, and I'll be telling you about those in a second here. So if the attacker's dice come up double 6s, a critical strike occurs, and luck is reduced by an additional 2 points, so that's pretty good. If double 1s are rolled, you kind of fail, catastrophic thing happens, and that's not going to be good for you. And of course, if you have a shield, they may choose to shatter it when they are hit by an attack to ignore all lost luck from that attack, and everybody is splintering and shattering shields in a lot of games nowadays. So NPC morale pretty normal, healing, 48 hours of rest in a safe place will restore all your luck. But if you just get a good full meal and get a night's rest, you're going to recover 1 point of luck. Encumbrance is pretty easy. A belt allows you to carry, it says here, like if you want to carry it in a backpack or a belt can let you carry 2 items, and backpacks can carry as much as the backpack can reasonably fit. I like that. It makes a lot of sense when you just, how does it work? That's how I did with my pocket fantasy game, where I was like, you know what? Range is just what you think the weapon would reach, and don't really worry about a lot of this stuff, especially in these rules-light games. Now, advancement is cool. So you've got a couple little criteria here. Did you show up the game? Yeah, you get 1 experience point. Overcame a difficult challenge, 2 experience point. Overcome an impression challenge beyond the group's expected ability, 3 experience points. So you don't get an advancement until you get 20 experience points. I like how it kind of pushed it out there. It's not like, you just need a couple points and you're already getting an advancement, because the advancements are pretty sweet. +3 to luck, +1 spell known, +1 attack bonus. You get to choose one of these. An additional vocation or something else noteworthy. It pretty much takes the thing you kind of started your character off with and just reproduces it here, and I like that. Then it says after 10 advancements, maybe your character can retire, and you can start with a new character. So you got money, equipment, pretty normal. Weapons are interesting. So small weapons, daggers, whips, cudgels, things like that. Unarmed strikes, they're going to do 1 point of luck damage. One-handed weapons such as swords, maces, short bows, and things like that are going to be 2 points of luck damage. And then two-handed weapons, axes, mauls, things like that, they're going to deal 3 points of luck damage. Magic is interesting. So you're going to spend 1 point of luck. maybe even more. And it's going to affect a single target within 60-foot radius, including the sorcerer. Although this can be extended to include multiple targets, if it makes sense, and the referee otherwise permits. The latter costs +1 luck per additional target to be affected. So, as you want to change your spell, you can spend more luck to make it bigger. And this is kind of like a freeform magic system, which of course I enjoy as well and have in my pocket fantasy game. And it says, although it doesn't do any damage. It says most spells cannot permanently damage or destroy, although targets can be delayed or distracted for 1d6 +1 rounds in combat or 10 minutes out of combat. It can duplicate normal tasks like navigating obstacles, recall knowledge, subject to the rules, and the referee. And so it says, where applicable, maximum movement is 60 feet, noting here that spell casting takes 1 full round to complete and requires verbal and somatic components. If a sorcerer decides to cause direct harm to a target, they burn their opponent's luck on a 1-for-1 basis of their own. So pretty much, if you want to do damage to them, you're going to have to do damage to yourself. You have to have a spell book in order to cast these spells, so that's paramount for you. It says characters can reliably remember the formulas for half the spells they originally knew. And then it says here, additionally, sorcerers and others who have access to magic may choose to cast recklessly by making a heart danger roll. If successful, the spell is cast without any luck expenditure, so that could really come in handy. But if it fails, it still costs luck and has a chance to backfire. And remember, luck that's going to be pretty important to you. It's your health in essence. On a result of an unmodified 2, you roll Snake Eyes. The character is required to roll on this magic mishap table. And there is a lot of stuff that can, of course, mess up with you. Roll d6. You cannot recover luck for 24 hours. That's tough. Lose double the luck originally spent. Maybe a random mutation. Here's a whole bunch of them right here. Lose an attribute bonus for 24 hours. That can be really tough. Agony for 1d6 rounds. You cannot take any other actions except move. And you cannot cast spells for 1d6. Or use magical items for 1d6 rounds. There, in the appendix here, we've got relics and artifacts here. A bunch of different magical items. So that's fun. And then we've got things here on artifacts. On the other hand, there are powerful weapons from aeons long ago that are imbued with powerful elemental spirits. And they possess a personality of their own. And you can roll here about what type of kind of alignment they are. And all artifacts may possess the following. It could be maybe inflicts more luck, a magical bonus. It says foe slaying. PCs makes attacks rolls with advantage versus a specific creature. Might possess 5 luck to cast spells. That's cool. And Sound of Magic. All enemies must make a morale check when the weapon is used in combat. So very powerful weapons. And then you've got this really easy section here on hirelings. And it tells you that pretty much hirelings have no attribute bonuses. They have 4 luck and possess a single weapon. And so that's pretty cool. And monsters, real easy. You've got these different tables right here. You say, okay, well, how much? I want them to be kind of typical. So it's going to be a 4 to 6 luck. All right. I want them to be moderately protected. They're going to have an armor of 7. Well, I want them to be pretty strong in combat. They can hit your masterful +3. The strength bonus, maybe it's only strong, so it gets a +2. So you just choose as you want to make your creature here, kind of free form, making your own creatures. You're trying to figure out exactly, what the basis for a normal monster would be that maybe it's a troll or something like that, an orc. Dexterity bonus, maybe they're nimble, +2. They're average, maybe it's just a +1. And then their heart bonus, maybe they're average or clever. They get a +2 here. So I like that. I think that's interesting that, to make your own monsters with the game. It would be cool to have a list of just some that you could just grab from, but it shouldn't be too hard to come up with your own. There's another appendix here, sci-fi vocations, a little bit different stuff here, such as pirate, pilot, gambler, conman, assassin, smuggler, Templar, smuggler is as well. So that's cool. Then we've got procedures here. Just some common rules stuff here for time, light, exploration, and encounters. Such as, if you roll a 1 for rolling for an encounter, it's going to trigger 1. On a result of 2, there's signs of something interesting. And then nothing happens on any of the other results. And then here we've got this development log, which is pretty cool. It just goes into his thought process about certain games and, coming up with how this kind of works to make the game. I like this. It's kind of like behind the scenes of how he made Obsidian Dragonslayer. And maybe it's something that maybe other games would be neat to see how they came up with a lot of their stuff. I think about that lots of times when it comes to board games. How did they sit down to come up with this board game? So it's neat to see that with a role-playing game. So that's really it. Very rules light. Definitely is obviously Maze Rats and Cairn kind of a little bit together or inspired by both of those. And I dig it. I think it's a neat game. If you've seen my Cairn review, check that one out. I'll link it towards the end there. You'll see it kind of pop up in its own little box if you want to go check that game out as well. But Obsidian Dragon Slayer is cool. Again, on ttrpg, you pick up the PDF or the print copy. And I appreciate everybody watching my videos as always, and stay tuned for the next one.